What I'm showing here in this video is the ground cable that goes from the starter to, or maybe the battery, but definitely it's something that you have to disconnect and reconnect. There it is right there. It's the ground cable. And the anyways, I was it's been about 2 months since I got the transmission back in, and I had a really difficult time initially getting it started. And then once I did get it started, I had a very difficult time getting, and I'm just showing it there again. I'm trying to show my girlfriend it in that right there. So the second problem I had once I got it started was keeping the battery charged. The battery I kept getting to a point where I couldn't start. I'd drive it for a long time, and then what I realized after a huge learning curve was that the battery was draining. The alternator wasn't able to output the proper current. And now that it is, at the end of this video, I get the car started and I show you the numbers on the alternator. But basically, the alternator, sorry, not the alternator, but when I would test with a multimeter at the battery, it would read, and this is when I finally figured out, the importance of having all the bolts tight and all that stuff too. But it was reading about 11.5. And before I replaced the starter, it got down to like 10. And it would just kind of fluctuate there. And so when it would get low, it wouldn't start. And finally, I replaced the starter, and it output 13 volts at the battery when everything was hooked up. And then the battery light came on, and it basically started discharging, and that light was probably telling me that it was going below 12.5. So right here, you can see my battery's at 13.5. The car is not started right there. The only reason it's reading that is because I had just charged it up, fully charged it. When it is, after it runs for a while, the battery will drain back to like a 12.6, I believe, or 12.5, something right around there. And when the car starts, the current goes up above that 12.5, thus charging the battery. Here, by the way, anytime you take off the battery cables, the computer system does have to be restarted, or the alarm goes off. So to reset it, what I've learned is to open up the back, crawl into the front, and start it. Sometimes some of the blogs seem to suggest that you had to have the door open, the passenger door open, but I'm not so sure about that. But it definitely does reset the computer when you start it this way. So here it is. I'm going to get my audio back here. I had just replaced a serpentine bolt, long story, as well.
That doesn't get caught up in anything.
So it's always nice when it's started right up, and this time it started up strong. And I've really had to get an ear. I've learned how it sounds. This has been such a problem. Not putting on that ground cable bolt, which I started the video with, has caused so many problems. But in the sequence, I think the last video, I was removing the starter. But this is something you would remove there. That bolt, along with there's some wires on top of the starter. You take those off because when you drop the transmission, that's all. Well, I think it's connected to the transmission. I might be wrong on that. But there you go, 14.3 volts. That's with the car running. So, with that ground cable off, it had reverted back down to running at like 11.5, 11, right around there, 11.5. So the battery was draining. And if I would run all the run things that drained the battery more, it wouldn't start. So long story short, take off that ground cable when you're removing, but also make sure you put it back on when you put it all back together.
It is not any permissive potentate, but it's emperor in his own
Okay, the way
right.
that I see it, when these are on, they have a
Poet
little,
is not any permissive potentate, but it's emperor in
this
his own
part that
right.
comes up here. So you can kind of see
Imagination intoxicates
is-
the poet. It's not
can't really see it, but there's a little plastic strip right here. And you have to get that plastic strip to go up. And then once you get it to go up, it'll slide right off. That little plastic strip flips onto this. So you have to get, when this is in the on position, okay, you have to get a little, I don't have it, a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, or something little. I even made something. Okay, this goes inside, it lifts up the lever, and then this can wiggle out. And I found, I just did one in the back here, somewhere behind the transmission, and